FX is my favorite terminal-based JSON tool. We'll look at how it lets us interactively explore, query, filter, and modify JSON. Finally, we'll wrap it up by comparing JQ and FX, and I'll explain why I prefer FX. To show off FX, we'll need some JSON. We'll start by fetching JSON of Harry Potter characters. If we cat hp.json, we see that it's a single line of JSON, formatted for computers, not for human readability. Running fx hp.json gives us a well-formatted view with syntax highlighting. Move up and down with arrow keys, or J and K. Note that fx shows the current JSON path in the bottom left as you move around. Search by typing / and then a query. Pressing lowercase n will jump to the next match. Uppercase N will jump to the previous match. Press enter to exit search. Pressing period will enter dig mode. Use fuzzy matching with tab completion to find a JSON path. Pressing Y will allow you to copy the current JSON value, path, or key to your clipboard. fx-help shows all available keyboard shortcuts. FX querying will feel like the JavaScript map and filter that you already know. Here we are querying for all the wandwoods with a simple map. These are two equivalent queries that use optional syntactic sugar. When we run the query, we see a number of empty results. This is because the dataset has blank strings when the wood is unknown. We can filter out the empty results easily using one of these modified commands. You see that we're just chaining a filter as an argument to fx. Now we can get a list of all known wandwoods. You can make the filter as complicated as you want. Here we're finding living blonde wizards, getting their names, and sorting. FX has built-in functions like sort. Here's the same query using the sort built-in. Again, we're just adding it as an argument. FX has other built-ins like unique and flatten. You can define your own functions in a .fxrc.js file. Using filter to remove blanks is common enough that I've written a custom present function. Now we can use present in our queries. Because you can run any JavaScript in your custom functions, you can do things like write functions to filter out secrets or sensitive information. Let's imagine we never want to see Voldemort's name, and we never want to leak our Stripe API key while recording a screencast. We can avoid both disasters by building a confidential function. Here we define the secrets we want to mask and their replacements. Here we define our custom confidential function to replace the secrets with their replacements. Now we can use confidential in our queries. Here's a query without confidential. Here's the result when we add the confidential function. We'll set a fake Stripe API key so we can verify that it would be masked. Without confidential, our fake Stripe API key shows up. With confidential, we see that it is masked. You can modify JSON using map. For example, here's how we'd replace blank strings for wandwood with nulls. Why do I prefer FX to JQ? JQ is a great tool if you already know it. You'll probably be happy continuing to use it, but you might still benefit from the interactive parts of FX. But the problem with JQ for me is that it's a DSL. It's a language you have to learn to be able to use it successfully. I found that I can read a query in JQ pretty easily, but writing my own often requires consulting the manual. I could take the time to learn the DSL, but I have other priorities. So while JQ is a DSL you need to learn to use it successfully, FX is mostly just the JavaScript you already know, with some optional syntactic sugar. Here's a JQ command to get the names of all the living wizards with blonde hair. It's not too bad to read, but it's not something I could write correctly without consulting the docs. Compare the FX version. You could write this on your first try. Here's that same FX command with the sugar. While the syntactic sugar lets you be more succinct, you don't have to learn it to use FX successfully. FX is a power tool with the ergonomics I'm already familiar with. The ability to write custom functions is super compelling. You should give FX a try.